The government's been criticised for using Lotto to raise funds for regions devastated by Cyclone Gabrielle. The Green Party immediately put out a release saying that lotteries and gambling disproportionately harm lower income communities. But the special Lotto draw on March the 18th could also raise millions as part of a cyclone recovery where every dollar will count. We are looking at this from both sides this morning. Soon we're going to hear from Lotto, but first, Director of Communications for the Problem Gambling Foundation, Andre Frood, is with us. Morena, Andre.
Morena, Tova.
What's the problem? If this helps cyclone victims, why not? Shouldn't we be doing everything and anything we can?
Oh, look, absolutely. This was a significant natural disaster. It's impacted so many people and it's still ongoing. But the big question is why we have to use gambling as a means to raise this money when there are so many other ways this could be done.
Is it your view that the government's promoting gambling by holding this draw?
Well, it normalises it as well. And while Lotto may not be one of the more harmful types of gambling, people often do spend more on Lotto than they can afford. And what we're actually wanting to do is try to separate community funding from gambling when it causes so much harm in our communities and it's a significant social issue in this country.
Do you see Lotto as a poor tax? That's what some people call it.
There's no doubt that it disproportionately impacts people who are living in our more deprived communities. I mean, nearly 70% of Lotto shop sales are made in the more deprived half of the community. So, most definitely it does impact people who live in those communities. But the other thing, of course, is that when times are tough, people often turn to gambling as a way to get them out of their situation, hoping to win big. And this just serves to normalise it even more. And what we'll see, of course, is it being heavily advertised. Facebook is supporting this cause with free advertising. So that serves to normalise it even more.
So if 70% of Lotto tickets are bought in deprived communities, do you see this? Would you categorise this as the government promoting a poor tax? Would you go that far?
Well, perhaps not quite that far, but what we're saying here is that we're associating gambling with community funding, and gambling is a social issue and it causes harm in our communities. And we want to see it separated out. We're looking at a situation where we've got it's going to be promoted, it's a good cause, but it is gambling. And what we're doing is using gambling to again, for a community cause. The
Prime Minister says that people are going to buy the tickets anyway, so why not at least direct the funds somewhere good?
Well, I mean, you could argue that anyway with money that goes to communities from gambling. I mean, a lot of these causes are very worthwhile, and of course people want to support this, but there are other ways to do it without using gambling.
And is there a risk that this will maybe hook more people into Lotto, into low-level gambling, perhaps as a gateway to other gambling?
Well, it's not necessarily going to turn people into problem gamblers because they buy a Lotto ticket to support this cause. But what it can do is, yes, it can encourage people to buy Lotto tickets. We know that big jackpots change buyer behaviour and people are more likely to spend more than they can afford. And, once again, it's just the big question of why we have to use gambling to do this.
All right, great. Hey, Andre, thank you always for your time. Great to have you on the show. That is Andre Frood.